My name is Mark Welch, and I'm proud to say that I'm from the South, born and raised. But I don't consider myself an overzealous Southerner by any means. In fact, many times when I meet people from outside the South, they're surprised when I tell them where I am from. So this made me think, does everyone from outside the South think that people from the South are rednecks, illiterate, and just overall ignorant? So I decided to challenge these common stereotypes and rallied up my friend and fellow classmate Cameron Mitchell, and we set out to prove these stereotypes false. Here are just a few viewpoints of the South, and after watching this, you decide. And by the way, we do have sushi in the South, and it's pretty damn good too. What is your name and where are you from?
My name is Eric Kaplan, that's E-R-I-C-K-A-P-L-A-N, and I'm from Gadsden, Alabama.
My name's Jim Binden, and I'm originally from San Francisco.
My name is Evan Smith, and I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Lou Whitfield, and I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Gaius Whitfield, I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, although she's not originally from Tuscaloosa.
I've lived in Tuscaloosa longer than I lived in my hometown where I grew up.
Pell City.
In Pell City, yeah, Pell City, Alabama.
I was born and raised in Tuscaloosa, so I'm a native.
When you hear the words the South, what do you think of?
Sweet tea. You do.
Alabama football.
Magnolia trees.
Below the Mason-Dixon line.
Azaleas.
Courteous people.
Humidity.
Mainly like good people, football.
Well, other than a cardinal direction, people kind of generalize an area of the United States with a particular culture, and it's associated with several things, whether from food and religious beliefs and morals, principles, and values.
I go back to thinking about when we were asked to interview for the job down here, and what it conjured up in my mind was cotton fields. I had never been to the Southeast. I'd been as far as Texas, and I just remembered all this flat, dry land with cotton fields on it, and that's kind of one of the things that I was thinking of, and I was glad to get disabused of that notion. One of the other things that comes to mind is hospitality, and people have been very friendly and very helpful. I remember, within a couple of months of moving down here, we had some car trouble and people helping us out, just things that would not have happened in the San Francisco Bay Area or up in Pennsylvania.
What are some common stereotypes that you know of about the South?
Well, yeah, aside from the positives that I suggested, of course, is the redneck stereotype, ignorance, illiteracy, that are common stereotypes of the South.
I know a lot of people think that we're like dumb, inbred, NASCAR fans. It's not true at all. I mean, there are people like that, but not the majority.
Rednecks.
Yeah.
Bubba, illiterate.
Pickup trucks. And I think trailers. I think it's unfortunate that when we have a storm in the South, which we have a lot, and it goes through, it always blows over the trailers, and everybody, I think thinks we all live in trailers.
Well, probably one of the largest ones that you'd think people give us a stigma about is kind of our intelligence, kind of questioning being ignorant and understanding how the world works, and just kind of give us a lower class than what other people are.
What part of the stereotype of the South is true or untrue?
Well, a lot of people have pickup trucks.
A lot of people live in trailers.
I mean, there definitely are people like that, and that's probably more economic reasons for that, but like the fact that it's the way they grow up, it's just, you do what you do.
Well, you know what, I think there's a truth in all stereotypes, obviously, but people go beyond what the reality is, and personally I have a kind of different outlook on it because both my parents are from New York City and were transplants down in the South, so I kind of get both perspectives of kind of the reality of the stereotypes.
Well, there certainly are a lot of individuals who would identify themselves as redneck. They're not generally as ignorant as the stereotype is, though, so that's less true. And I've seen, 30 years that I've lived here, I've seen the tolerance level for difference increase substantially among people that I think of as rednecks. So For instance, I can walk around with a grody beard like this and long hair, and people don't hassle me.
But I don't think the stereotype that comes from other parts of the country about the South is true.
Do you feel that the rest of the country has a negative outlook on the South?
I think so.
I think somewhat. Yeah, I think some people are surprised when they meet Southerners and they have an idea of maybe the way they speak or the way they look, and after they have a conversation with them, that's been my experience. They kind of understand that Southerners are really just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, they're not just like everybody else. Southerners, are can carry on an intelligent conversation.
I think that's still true to a large extent. I think we especially see it at the university when we try to interview to bring faculty members in who are not familiar with the South. Mm-hmm. Now, our latest hire came from Atlanta, so he was already pretty familiar with the area, so it wasn't that hard to sell. But we were hard recruiting a couple of women from Ohio and Michigan, and it was going to be a major change for them. It was going to be very difficult for them to make that transition, just to think about themselves as living in the South.
No, I wouldn't say there is.
Have you ever been anywhere outside of the South where you maybe had to prove a typical Southern stereotype false?
The biggest stereotype I've encountered, in traveling, I still have a lot of relatives in California, so I spend time out there, and they'll introduce me as my sister will introduce me as her brother from Alabama. And of course, as soon as I say Alabama, the most common response I get is, what do you think about Bear Bryant, and is football really as big as they say it is? And those preconceived notions are true. I can't break those stereotypes. Those are correct. But I don't. Again, I travel as a representative of the University of Alabama. As a faculty member, I don't get the same perceptions as somebody who didn't have that association, that affiliation, I think.
I went to New York in 2000 with my family, and it's pretty, I held the door open for a couple of ladies, and they stopped and looked, and they were like, what? They didn't really know what to do, because I guess nobody's ever done that for them before, which is not really, it's a good stereotype in my opinion.
I think we have traveled outside the South, and with both our boys going to school, and although they went to school in Virginia, which is really still the South, a bunch of northern kids go to that school, and I think they had a different perception of the Whitfield family till they got to know us and all, and we just, I think, fit in with them like everybody else. And
I spent a summer in upstate New York at a camp, and all the campers were from Long Island or the New York, city and in that area or around the state of New York. Mm-hmm. And they thought, obviously that I talked funny, but they had lots of questions about grits was this huge thing. They had all heard of grits, and they couldn't understand what grits were, and thought that was the worst thing that you could imagine, and they thought that we all ate strange food because we're from the South.
One particular story of an instance like that happening is the Cotton Bowl. I was in New York City at a bar having a drink, and I just got in from the airport, and I was going to pay my bartender with a $100 bill, and the gentleman sitting next to me looks over, he said, "Oh, y'all have $100 bills down in Alabama?" And I was like, "Yeah, we got running water to you, jackass." So, that's kind of something that you'd run into, but those people are more ignorant than what they think that we are, so you kind of have to look beyond that.